guys, welcome back to episode 7 in season 2 of Astrea's Broken Heart. I just start getting that right. Season 2, episode 7. Okay. Anyway, the monster within, because right now we're headed with this spear of Longinus? I don't know. And we're trying to kill Raphael. I mean, we're not trying to do it, but we're being controlled through our dreams. So I guess that was the real danger of our dreams, is that they can take control of us through them. And is this how they have been getting people to act out of character this whole time? But kind of seems like those people kind of invited that situation in. This is definitely not invited. I'm nervous. Foreign thoughts writhed in her mind like worms. Melody felt their slimy, sluggish movements. Her insides had turned into rotten leaves. She felt like plunging her fingers into her own flesh to scrape out every disgusting, everything alien. Just to stop hearing that mournful, gurgling voice, to stop feeling it inside her. Raphael is already dead. You'll only ease his suffering. Screw you. The angel's skin looked marble-like, unreal, in the moonlight. He really did resemble a lifeless statue. Please wake up. Tears blurred her vision, corroding his perfectly flawless face. It melted and clouded over, no matter how hard she tried to hold on to it. Now. Melody jolted and the angel's eyes flew open. For a moment it seemed as if her soul had left her body. She watched herself as she leaned over Raphael with the spear in her hands. She felt fear fill every cell in her body. Then there was another voice in her head. Melody? Raphael's lips didn't move, but he called to her so clearly and with such thunderous volume that she could hear no other sound. It's all right, Melody. It's all right. The darkness, defeated by light, fled like a coward. It left an emptiness within her. How will I explain this? Throw the spear aside. Try to hurt Rabbit? Girl. Give in to your emotions. Okay. Bullet dodged. What does give in to your emotions mean? Because I don't like the one of the options is try to hurt him. Oh my gosh. That was so stressful. I don't like that. I don't like that they can control us. That's so awful. I don't know. I'm kind of curious what this means. A wave of faint trembling swept through her body. The next one was stronger. Melody began to shake. I'm sorry. Without a word, Raphael sat up from the bed and took the spear from her hands. Tears streamed from her eyes. Melody didn't even try to hold them back. She sank to her knees in front of the angel. Fearing questions she wouldn't be able to answer, she began to speak on her own. Quickly, hysterically, and only breaking off for ragged breaths. The beast got into my head. It controlled my body. It told me to kill you, Raphael, and I couldn't resist. Sobbing, Melody covered her face with her hands. I didn't want to. What is happening to me? Her last sentence was filled with despair. It pulled Raphael out of his stupor. The angel himself could find no answers. He lowered himself to the floor beside her and gently covered her hands with his. I didn't realize the beast could speak to you. Before, it only entered the minds of those who let it in, those who followed it. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I let it in? She felt like howling with despair. This time, Melody remembered her nightmare. She remembered every face her father had forced her to count. I failed everyone. Weak, foolish, worthless. Just like when I was a kid, when I was willing to do anything my father told me to do, as long as he was content. Just so that he would leave me alone for a minute. Melody, does your father hold such power over you? I was hoping he no longer did. But the moment he showed up, the moment he hurt me, this will never end. This changed everything. Melody saw in the angel's bewildered eyes. What will happen to me now? Are you going to lock me up with Harry, as Fury suggested? Oh, they have him locked up? No, of course not. Melody buried her face in his chest, clutching the thin fabric of his shirt as if he was slipping away. The angel was plagued by similar thoughts. He held her even tighter. The realization that the beast really could take her away filled him with terror. We will rid you of all ghosts and monsters, Melody. I'll just say I believe you. I also want to say I'll do whatever it takes. Is that more skeptic or faith? I feel like skeptic is that's impossible. I hope so. I'll just say I believe you for now. I know we'll handle this. Raphael watched her furtively, but his worry only made things worse. Could I really have hurt you? You couldn't, but the beast certainly could, and I don't know if it's capable of harming me through your hands. It's probably just testing you, testing us. Melody didn't know what else to say. There was only one phrase on her tongue. She was willing to repeat it until dawn broke. I'm sorry. Melody, it's alright. No one will let the beast contact you when your mind is most vulnerable in your sleep. I have been saying, at least I can say that I had told someone that I was in danger in my sleep, that I was having nightmares, that it was a problem. We just never got a chance to address it. And now, it's like, oh, this is a serious problem. And we can fight it. We have Somnus and Furious. But the most important thing is that we have this knowledge. After all the terror she'd endured, her new superiors did not start any negative feelings in her. They didn't? On the contrary, she really wanted to accept their help, if they're gonna give it, though. She wanted to stop questioning her loyalty to Astrea. I don't want to betray their faith in me. I don't want to become their enemy. Just thinking about it made her insides churn. Her fear for her own future made her sick. I just found a home. I can't lose it. I mean, they might decide that you have to if they decide that you're a danger to everyone around. Sleep here, Melody. I'll make sure the beast doesn't invade your thoughts again. I don't want to sleep. Well, I think we've proven, though, that with one of them around, the beast is too afraid to contact her. Because when Cassio was there for that night, it didn't show up until the moment that he left. Lie down, please. We'll talk to everyone in the morning and find a solution. Raphael helped her up from the floor. She was so compliant and so exhausted. He gently sat her down on the bed. You need rest too. I'm sorry, but I can't let you go. And you need sleep far more than I do. Raphael moved a chair next to the bed and sat beside her. Rest, Melody. You've been suffering for so many nights. I almost killed him, yet he sacrificed his own sleep for me. The narrow bed didn't have much room for the two of them to lie down comfortably. If I ask him and he agrees, he'll be so close. Well, here we go. Melody moved over and pressed her shoulder blades against a cold wall. You can lie down with me. There's enough room for both of us." There was laughably little space, but Raphael remained tactfully silent. Maybe he wanted to lie down next to her too, but didn't dare say it out loud. Melody could sense his hesitation. She didn't know how to overcome her own shyness, but after everything that had happened, she physically needed to know that he was near, that he hadn't distanced himself from her. "Please." Raphael hesitated for a moment, his gaze lingering on the inviting curves of her body. So delicate, so desired. Raphael thought about how easily it would break, about how little time it would take for it to turn to dust, and for the first time he was grateful for his allotted lifespan. His chest tightened as the bed sank under his weight. The angel lay facing her. There was almost no space left between them. There was that scent of meadow flowers again. "I will never change my opinion of you, Melody. You will always be the most sincere, tender, understanding person to me. The most beautiful." Melody pressed her hands to her chest. She was unsure where to put them. Raphael was more at ease. He immediately placed his hand on her waist. He slid it up toward her ribs. So elegant, so graceful, she reminded him of a violin. The finest craftsmanship of all. His fingers explored her body with such care, as if she really could fall apart, but the touch became unbearably gentle and tender. Melody arched her back and moved a bit closer to him. That bit closer brought their bodies into contact. Raphael's fingers tightened and Melody let out a breathy sigh. "You shouldn't feel guilty about me, Melody. I don't want you trying to undo damage that isn't there." She was so intoxicated by his closeness that she didn't immediately understand what Raphael was talking about. Was it the immortal's power of attraction, or was she actually losing her mind over him? Melody didn't know. But his words reminded her of reality. They yanked her out of the dizzying haze of desire. "I don't want to undo the damage. I just want to... Sure." Melody mimicked his movements. She rested her hand on his waist. She tenderly slid it up to his stomach. The muscles under her fingers tensed. Raphael burned her face with a ragged breath. Raphael caught her hand and touched it with his lips. Then he pulled her so close that she could barely breathe. "You awakened the best in me. All the things I never even knew existed. But also the worst in me." Melody tried to catch his gaze, but he didn't give her the chance. He placed his hand on the back of her head and gently pressed her face to his chest. The fresh, sweet scent soothed her. She no longer felt the need to fight for his attention. Melody grew still. "For so many years I felt nothing, Melody. At home, beside my father, I thought only of my purpose. Here, beside Mikkel, I froze in anticipation of its fulfillment. And then you showed up." Raphael's voice grew softer, lulling her like a lullaby. "I felt such a thirst for life when I saw you. A wave of greed overtook me." There's that greed word again. "I wanted you to belong only to me. I wanted you to give me a purpose, to brighten up the rest of my life. And I behaved unworthily. I stole your kiss like a thief and wanted to possess you so fiercely." He stammered as if ashamed of his confession, but Melody didn't share his shame. "Is there anything shameful about that?" "There is. Now I cast my selfish desires aside, Melody. I think only of one life, yours. And I won't hurt you." "Will you push me away?" "No, I'll never push you away. But I won't tie you too tightly to me either, so that you won't have to tear those threads from your heart one day." She wished she would stop saying such foolish things. She wished to silence him with a kiss, to soothe his overwhelming thoughts with all her tenderness. But his warmth, his safety, his quiet whispers, his gentle scent, they all left her defenseless. "We'll talk about this tomorrow." Her mind faded into a dreamless sleep, the best thing she could hope for right now. She felt like Raphael was covering her with a blanket, heavy, soft, rustling. Oh. That's nice. Should I save it? Finally sleeping. Under it, Melody relaxed completely. All her thoughts evaporated. The angel who no longer needed wings to soar used them in a different way. He covered the one dearest to him and guarded her sleep. He counted the seconds and prayed that they would not pass so quickly. Dawn was a little over an hour away. It's nice. Okay. They managed to turn something really horrific into a beautiful moment. Okay. Because, whoa, now what is the rest of the house going to say? I'm worried about what the superiors are going to do. When Melody awoke, Raphael was already at the table. The angel was slightly hunched over as he made entries in his journal. He's probably writing about my failed attempt on his life. As if reading her thoughts, Raphael turned around and greeted her with a radiant smile. Good morning, Melody. I took the liberty of speaking with Mikkel in advance, so come down when you're ready. We'll all be waiting for you in the living room. Her throat went dry. She forced out a lump and mumbled, Mikkel doesn't mind speaking with me? The spear was no longer in the room, but even its absence was a bitter memory for her. Melody, please. Melody wanted to take advantage of Raphael's kindness, so she got up obediently. I'll be right there. I just need to change. Melody slipped into her room and headed for the shower. Dozens of possible outcomes swirled in her head. If I get kicked out of Astrea... Without looking, she put on the first outfit she found. Dim skirt. Provocative. Heavy alluring. Stern and expensive. Elite red. Okay. Sure. She fixed her hair and looked at herself with a lost expression. Can I just get the braid? I like the braids. I don't like how they sit on her head, but I love this hairstyle. She sighed heavily and went downstairs. Even from the hallway, Melody could hear a lively discussion that fell silent as soon as she touched the door handle. All the Astreans had gathered in the living room, concerned, sympathetic, near and dear. Melody cast an embarrassed glance around the room, trying not to linger on anyone in particular. She noticed that Somnus and Furious weren't in the room. So they decided to talk to me before they talked to the superiors? I appreciate it. I know, that's not something to feel dirty about. They're trying to make sure that you're okay before they just throw you to them. Melody had never felt so dirty. She felt as if the nauseating presence of the beast still lingered within her. As if even her appearance had become uglier. As if betrayal had marked her face. Once again, I'm standing here in front of them, and I don't know what to say. Mikkel was the first to speak. How are you? The last thing she wanted to be was to be the problem they had to fuss over one again. Did I read that wrong, or was that weird? Anyway, Melody tried to answer confidently. I'm fine. I don't hear the voices anymore. Until the next nightmare? The question wasn't mocking, but it still made her feel uneasy. We need to solve this before Melody closes her eyes tonight. But we need to present this information wisely, leaving out certain details. No one brought up the betrayal. It was clear that no one intended to. The need for apologies or pleas had disappeared on its own. Melody felt a nasty pang of shame. How could I even think they would stoop to that? But we have to tell them the truth. I'm not asking for lies. I'm saying we shouldn't reveal everything all at once. It's one thing to hear a voice and another to obey it. The fact that the voice is in her head is enough for Somnus to get inside it. What if that's not enough? Does he want to keep Somnus and Furious from knowing what I tried to do? But will they be able to help if they don't know everything? Boy. It was foolish to seek danger among allies when the enemy was already so close. If they really can help, then let them know exactly what they're up against. Half-truths never lead to anything good. I know that from experience. You don't have to be alone with them if you don't want to. Any one of us can keep you company. Well, of course. After all, it's so much easier to fall asleep with a crowd of men staring at you. Guess. Grimace and David rolled his eyes. Oh, God. David is so funny. If Melody doesn't mind, I see no reason to continue this argument at all. This is her decision first and foremost. She has made it. Show some respect. David frowned. Willing to take responsibility for your actions, that's commendable. David frowned. He spoke through gritted teeth. I don't like this. You're giving up our advantage. The Archangel closed his eyes for just a moment. Then he spoke much more coldly than usual. We're on the same side, David. What advantage are you talking about? Oh, of course we are, Mikhail. You never guess it from his tone. It's just that we're only going to end up on the same place together in one scenario. If we lose. We definitely won't be celebrating at the same table, though. Are you really going to lecture me about oppression? Stop it, for God's sake. Raphael's tired voice immediately diffused the tension in the room. Melody, I'll speak with Somnus. He'll come to you at midnight. Try not to sleep until then. And please don't leave the house. If you get bored, read a book or watch a movie. You need to stay here until we sort this out. I'll be in my room. And Melody, you must understand, there is a battle for your soul. The beast longs to claim it, and it has clearly secured your consent through some form of deception. But this is not the end. My father speaks to me on his behalf. He is the one who holds the power over me. This news didn't faze Mikhail in the slightest. Then we'll free you from him as well. Everyone joined her for breakfast except Mikhail. They tried to act casual. They smiled as they discussed the upcoming night's procedure, as if Somnus had entered their minds at least 100 times. What if Somnus sees something he shouldn't? They're only dreams, Melody. Somnus might be surprised if it's not the best beast that visits you tonight, but one of us. But I doubt a nighttime fantasy would be much of an issue. But they were clear that we shouldn't get too close, weren't they? Get close? Yes, but to think about it? No. Trust me, it's unlikely that you will shock those two, no matter what you dream. Let's just say they have extensive experience when it comes to love. They practically never leave their bed on their island. Oh. Guess I didn't like where the conversation was going. He interrupted with a short sentence. Eat, Melody. Oh, right. Food's getting cold. All their little personalities. Yeah, it really does show a lot about their personalities, doesn't it? Each plate, the way it's arranged. Even the drinks that they set. How interesting. It tells a lot about the personality, doesn't it? Okay, we're in Raphael's right now, though. Deep down, Melody hoped they would stay with her until evening. But after breakfast, everyone had things to do. Raphael went to speak with Somnus. Cassio and David headed to the church that Malek had found. Melody swore to everyone that she would live to see the evening. She found herself alone once again. Oh! I didn't know that my scroll button worked instead of clicking. I'll try to find something to entertain myself. Should I check if there's a scene that I missed? Maybe? Give me a minute. I didn't see anything. After reading through all the news, Melody suddenly realized that she'd run out of things to do. Her thoughts, set adrift in a sea of idleness, floated from one shore to another. They jumped from topic to topic. Melody followed them listlessly, trying to think about the night ahead. At some point, Ruth's face flashed before her eyes. Melody suddenly realized that the beast could have been influencing her friend through dreams in the same way. Maybe. It could have been controlling her mind, her body. But unlike with me, there was no one to protect her. Thinking of her after all she'd done felt like self-torture. But Melody couldn't stop thinking about Ruth. Melody remembered their student years. Back then, they both believed that they had a chance to escape their past. She was the only one who didn't look at me like I was a leper when I talked to her about the cult. Why didn't I see that while I was breaking free, she was being pulled down even deeper? Her heart clenched as she realized that she was the first to drift away. The moment I got over it and let go of the past, her talk about God stopped mattering to me. They frightened me. I spoke to her less and less. I abandoned her. I repaid her friendship with empty promises and silence on the phone. She had an unbearable urge to find out how Ruth was doing. Malek should know. Should I call him? This time Malek's greeting was drowned out by an indistinct background hum. It was a mix of countless sounds. His velvety voice still reached her, breaking through the muffled buzz. Melody, I begin to think you literally can't live a day without me. The sounds faded and grew quieter. Apparently he managed to find a quiet place to talk to her. I'm not interrupting you, am I? Not at all. I'd even say your company is more timely than ever. I'm stuck here killing time and waiting for a flight. Are you leaving or meeting someone? I have to visit a small French province. A tactless question slumped out on its own. For long? Your charming team won't even have time to miss me. I'll be back, as they say, in a flash. Melody sank onto her bed. She tried to picture the azure coast, the salty sea air. I've never been to France. Unfortunately, I don't have time to bring you with me, but I can bring you back a little piece of it for you. Oh, I was just making conversation. Well then, we'll have another reason to start it up again. The strange friendship was starting to grow on her. His provocations felt more familiar, less unsettling. And who would say no to a friend with connections like his? But you wanted something, didn't you? I was thinking about Ruth. Malek's tone was full of feigned sorrow. His voice felt so tangible as it tickled her ear, as if he was right next to her. Goosebumps ran through her body, betraying her excitement. And here I'd hoped you'd consider my offer. So, somehow, on every route except, you know how they said get that little message that there was like, oh, it's either going to be romantic only if you've romanced him, or and if not, it'll be more fatherly. I only got the father route on Felonious, where I specifically chose to only date women. I guess it's very easy to romance. I guess if you take any of his diamond scenes along the way, I don't know. I thought I had avoided the most, the biggest ones, but apparently took a bit too many on all of my other routes. So I only got the father love just on Felonious, and that's it. So that's why we're here with this. Offer? To indulge in the sweetest of sins with me, Melody. Malek laughed at her silence, a soft, muted chuckle. Your silence convinces me that you're not ready to answer yet. But there's no refusal in it either, which gives me hope for a delightful night. What do you want from your unfortunate friend? I want to talk to her. About what? Melody knew she was making yet another mistake, but the thought that she had been the first to betray Ruth would not leave her mind. I'm not asking for a meeting. A conversation on the phone would be enough. I owe her that much, Malek. I doubt your debt is as great as hers, Melody. I erased her from my life when she needed me. Malek paused, clearly considering her request, as if it's up to him whether Ruth will even agree to talk to me. Well, I can arrange it, Melody. She does want to talk to you, by the way, but is too afraid to admit it. She even has a gift prepared for you. What kind of gift? Don't worry, it's not like her old surprises. Some trinket. I'll ask her to send it to you. You want to give Ruth a chance, you have a kind heart. A pleasant female voice announced that it was time to board. I'll be back soon, Melody. We'll talk then. I'll be waiting, Malek. Melody found herself wondering how her upcoming meeting with Somnus would go. She picked up a book to pass the time, but the words kept slipping from her grasp. After reading the same sentence for the 5th time, Melody gave up. I'm too nervous, this is pointless. As if sensing her despair, there was a knock at the door. Somehow Melody knew exactly who it was. Come in. David stepped into the room. He walked up to her and stopped provocatively just a few feet away. Aren't you supposed to be with Cassio? I annoyed him and scurried home to his approving silence. How cunning of you. I am driven to cunning by the fiendish fate that deprives us of any chance to be alone. So you decided to take matters into your own hands? David took a step closer. He whispered softly and enticingly. There's no one home, just you and me. I see. Better lock the door then. She didn't have to ask twice. The door was locked in an instant, and the next thing she knew, Melody was in his arms. She was wrapped in the warmth of his body. She thought about how cold she'd been without him. She melted into his gentle, responsive embrace. This time it wasn't full of passion, but of a longing for her. David held her as if he hadn't seen her in an eternity. As if he had spent every second imagining this moment of reunion. And she felt the same way. It can't be this good. He's like my fantasy come to life. Melody buried her face in his shoulder and closed her eyes. She felt his soft lips on the top of her head. I could hold you like this forever. And that's it? And do everything you let me do, little witch. Melody knew that a single word can change the nature of this embrace, or even a glance, a breath. David keenly sensed her every move. He listened intently, ready to fulfill her every desire. Is he waiting for permission? To be fair, he's always waiting for permission. Consent is nice. Okay, thank you. You know as well as I do that our desires are mutual. They always have been. Her words sounded like a call to action. They were the invitation David had been waiting for. His lips touched her neck, leaving a hot kiss that lingered on her skin. Desire swept over her so quickly that Melody began to lose her head. We're alone in this house. No one will stop us. Somnus won't be here for a while. The thought of their superior sobered her for a moment. David, wait, hold on. Melody pulled away and met his passion-clouded eyes. What will happen if Somnus finds out? About my feelings for you? He already knows. David leaned toward her neck again, but Melody drew back once more. He wasn't warning you about feelings, was he? It was about specific actions? Yes, Melody. I suppose he meant sex. The wretched snake thinks he's the only one allowed to have it in his house. The revelation thrilled her. What happens if it gets closer? Aside from the fact that I will be the happiest demon in the world? Melody grabbed his hands and forced him to look into her eyes. Be honest, please. If you give yourself to me, I'd probably be stripped of my wings. And that's a small price to pay for the joy of being with you. Malek could sense that he was holding something back. Stripped of your wings, and that's it? There was a flicker of despair in David's voice, as if she could take something so precious away from him with just her question. Along with my wings, I lose my immortality, my memories. I'll begin life as a mortal with a clean slate. Something inside her shattered. Melody spoke in a hollow, distant voice. And you'd forget me? Yes. The tiny word knocked the ground out from under her feet, but his next words lifted her up again. But you'd find me. And you stole my heart again with that bewildered smile of yours. With that curious gaze of yours. And I will love you even more. Love me? Her arousal faded, replaced by a decisive tenderness. Melody whispered, I can't take your immortality from you. David buried his face in her hair and groaned softly. I painted such a beautiful picture for us, Melody. And you condemned me to an eternity of suffering without you. He spoke the last line into her lips, then immediately took away her chance to reply. His tongue met hers, erasing every unspoken phrase. His fingers moved slowly and deliberately, feeling for the boundaries of what was allowed. How does one take away one another's immortality? Like, weaken it temporarily is one thing, but how does one take it away? That's something I don't think we've come across in Heaven's Secret yet. Because, like, they put shackles on Vicky and Mimi so they couldn't use their abilities, like their immortality, almost, it was like they were humans. But they didn't take their immortality away. Like, and no one else has done something like that either. That's interesting, because if they could have done that, I feel like say for example, if Shefa was so afraid of Malbon, then why didn't he do something like that as opposed to what he did do? Is it because he intended on using Bont in some way? I have so many questions about that. That's interesting to hear about. What? Sorry, I'm ruining the scene. They trailed weightless and gentle along the seams of her shirt. They caught on the edge, revealing her skin. But the further he went, the more those boundaries expanded. Melody arched toward him, and the boundaries dissolved. David pulled away for a moment. He whispered hoarsely, A war for the world is raging around us, Melody, and those idiots are trying to intimidate me with their power. But as long as they hold that power... Exactly. Only as long as they do. Is that what he meant when he was talking about advantage? If we win, we'll be heroes. We'll be allowed to do anything. What if we lose? If we lose, then none of this will matter anymore. His eyes blazed with passion. They were far more convincing than words. Maybe I can burn up in this fire and not even have to think about the future. Her body craved his touch. It didn't care what was at stake. David no longer felt any resistance. There's no way we can stop now. The desire to possess fought the desire to protect. Melody was choking on tender love and fiery passion. She had no idea what to do. If I were David, I'd find a loophole. And her desperate mind gave her one. We don't actually have to have sex to give each other pleasure, do we? Curiosity sparked in the demon's eyes. What are you suggesting? His husky voice was maddening and made her want to give herself completely to him. I have a few ideas. Okay. In the date. Okay. A smile lingered on David's face. What do you have in mind? I want you to pretend to be obedient and yielding. Let me give you pleasure. She knew what would follow that quiet sigh. Gentle words about how he enjoyed just looking at her, just thinking about her, just wanting her. Though she wasn't immortal, she could already read a few things in his eyes. Hush. Melody pressed gently against him. She felt the tension radiating from his body. He was stretched taut as a string, ready to snap at any moment. Can you hold yourself together? David was already barely holding on. Turned to the light, he immediately admitted it. If you ask me one more thing in that sultry voice, I definitely won't. Hold on just a little longer. Melody rewarded his obedience with a tender kiss on his neck. She ran her tongue on the pulsing vein and bent gently at his skin. Melody, I don't care about the consequences. I know. It was amazing to feel so desired. Having power over him was breathtaking to the point of dizziness. Melody slid her hand over the smooth fabric of his shirt. She explored his toned body. Her hand paused on his chest where his heart pounded fiercely. Her fingers trailed down to his abdomen, so tense it felt like armor beneath the fabric. Her fingertips lingered on his belt buckle, clutching at the line that marked the point of no return. David let out a jagged breath and caught her wrist. Melody, I know a much more interesting way. Save it for next time. She freed her hand and returned to his trousers. She knelt before the demon. She enjoyed the thrilling sight of his eyes actually darkening with unbearable desire. And then she crossed the line. Okay. Quietly and slowly, accompanied by the faint jingle of metal and the whisper of an unzipping fly, David was torn between the need to throw the stubborn woman onto the bed and the equally burning desire to surrender to her initiative. He put his hand on her chin and lifted it gently. It's you who should be moaning with pleasure, Melody. Let me. I want this so much. And he let her. His hand slumped away. Intense anticipation was written on his face. Her slender fingers continued to explore him, reaching the most interesting place. They traced the outline of his hard length, pressing against his underwear. She released it and hesitated for a moment. Melody wasn't really experienced in this particular art, but the moment the tip of her tongue slid along his heated skin, his guttural, drawn-out groan told her that she was doing everything right. And so she continued. Her movements, fueled by her own growing arousal, became bolder and more daring. Melody listened to David's voice and studied his body's reactions. With her wet lips and keen tongue, she traced confessions across his skin. She put all her effort into showing him just how much she wanted to please him, showing him how much he meant to her. So much that she was willing to give him all of herself, but not risk his life. David responded with a groan from deep in his chest as he ran his fingers through her hair. Melody suppressed her rising worry. She was prepared for his desire to overwhelm him, for her to have to adapt to an entirely different rhythm. To choke with passion, not just figuratively, but an attempt to take him in fully. But David restrained himself from any other movements. His hands rested on her head gently, without pressure. In turn, he was willing to tame his wild nature for her comfort. Desire pulled a pulse between her legs. With every motion, it grew brighter, stronger, more intense. Melody let out a soft, muffled moan. David shuddered in response. He placed his other hand on her head and pulled away gently. At first, she barely recognized his voice. It was so hoarse, so throaty. One more second, Melanie, and you'll be in for a rough ride. Trust me, nothing compares to the pleasure you've just given me. Now, whenever I close my eyes, I'll see you kneeling in front of me. David quickly cleaned himself up and helped her to her feet. I didn't focus on work much before anyway, but now... Perhaps the only thing that could top this breathtaking image in my mind is the sight of you moaning. For now, you have to settle for this. Instead of agreeing, David cupped her chin in his hands and pulled her toward him. He let himself get lost in a long, passionate kiss. He only pulled away when he felt that they were both nearly out of breath. Melanie gasped and whispered against his lips, I won't let Somnus or anyone else hurt you. Alright. I can tell you right now that it won't be simple. Melody shrugged. She slowly sank onto the bed. See yourself. You can stay standing. The demon perked up. His eyes lit up with a spark of mischief. I'd rather die of desire while lying next to you than pass up this chance. Melody pulled her knees up and scooted back to make room for him. But David chose not to lie on the edge. He moved slowly and deliberately toward her, like a predator wary of startling its prey. His right hand settled by her hip. His left landed beside her waist. This is quite a strange way to lie down. Many more sarcastic comments were on the tip of her tongue, but they all disappeared when his hand rested on either side of her face. Her thighs were suddenly between his. David loomed over her so enticingly that Melody felt a pulse between her legs. You didn't really think we could just hold hands and stare at the ceiling, did you? You could at least try. His seductive whisper landed on her lips. I'm trying, Melody. I really am. A gentle kiss was followed by a confession. I want to be the most attentive for you. I want you to feel safe with me. To not be afraid to desire and receive what you desire. Melody was enchanted by his words. She barely noticed his warm hand move to her waist. It slid softly toward her stomach. Another kiss distracted her. Melody parted her lips and David immediately accepted the invitation. Tenderness mixed with lust. Melody melted into the deep, passionate kiss. She no longer perceived anything but his soft lips, his insistent tongue. I want him so much. His hand paused between her legs. Melody arched her back with a moan. Desire swept through her body like a blinding wave, erasing all thought. Somnus, immortality, the beast. All of it drifted far beyond the bed. Melody was drowning in his hands. She wanted nothing more than to be overwhelmed by this passion. Through the haze, she felt his fingers cross the simple barrier of fabric. They paused at the last obstacle, the thin lace of her underwear. David breathed heavily and pulled away from her lips. His rumbling groan scorched her skin. Stop me. Stop me now if you really want to. Melody didn't want to. If this is what sin is, then I want to be the dirtiest sinner with it. David found the perfect spot and pressed gently. Melody moaned and lifted her hips toward him. Hot kisses turned into tender bites. They covered her face, neck, collarbones. I'll take you away from here. To hell with this damned world. Let it burn in hellfire. I can protect you. I can hide you from everyone. Just you and me. He spoke with such seriousness. His words pierced the veil of passion and stirred her mind. Does he want to betray Astrea? But I'm not asking him to. Desire slowly but surely dissolved into duty. David, stop. Not now. Let's get up, please. David jumped up from the bed with ease. He reached out and helped her up. He pulled her toward him, drawing her into a truly heartfelt embrace. It was impossible to conceal his arousal, but to his credit, he tried. They breathed heavily and gazed at each other for a few moments. It's impossible to just cuddle with you. It's possible to cuddle with me, Melody. But you make my head spin too much, little witch. I need to experience la petite mort to come to my senses. The little... and let you experience some dizzying little deaths too. I see, good to know. Her breathing slowly steadied. David's words began to sink in. I hope we don't stop at just knowing. We'll need to kill the beast so we can practice. The beast, Furious, Somnus, whoever you wish, little witch. Name 100 names and I'll cross them off the list of undesirables right now. Melody smiled at his joke, but David didn't smile back. God. He's a demon. I need to remember that. Okay. Melody took his hands and looked into his eyes. Let's imagine that the beast is gone, that we're free. Somnus and Furious have left us alone and we're free to do whatever we want. First, I'd celebrate. Somewhere where nothing and no one can distract me from you. And if we're talking in a global sense, believe me, it won't seem more near to you. I'll make sure of that. Melody squeezed his hands tighter and smiled. Seriously, David, what does our future look like? His changing expression made it clear that he did not hold good promises. I can't let you tempt fate and play immortality. What do you mean? David didn't answer. He continued his mysterious train of thought. I can't lose you. And if we only have a few decades, I'll live them with you. They'll be the best years of my life. A beautiful end to the story. Melody wanted to say that he would forget her over the course of his immortality, but for some reason she didn't. There was a sense of finality in his tone that conjured sad thoughts, and Melody pushed them aside. I'll cherish every moment. As will I. That's a little worrying. Okay. To be fair, though, thinking about any of their... there's never going to be a good ending to any of this, is there? Oh boy. They spent the rest of the day talking. David distracted her with stories he accumulated over the course of his immortal life, and when the sun dipped below the horizon, he made an unexpected suggestion. I could stay with you. Make sure Somnus doesn't scare you with everything about him. The last thing she wanted was to let David go, but keeping him there meant giving themselves away. You in a bedroom make a dangerous combination. Somnus must not see us like this. Are you afraid you'll give in? I'm afraid it'll be written all over our faces. David didn't care. Melody took it upon herself to make that decision. I'll be fine. Really. Are you sure? Yes. She had to take him by the hand to lead him out. Melody closed the door behind him. She closed her eyes for a moment as well. Why am I flirting with Malek when I don't even know what I want? I'm not flirting with Malek! This is not a thing, okay? Malek has his own save file. There will be no cheating. Midnight was creeping up with agonizing slowness, like a lurking predator. Melody watched the clock. She stared into the face of the monster that was time and realized the meeting was inevitable. She wanted to either speed up the seconds or freeze them forever. But the hands of the clock paused teasingly, only to take another tiny step forward. 10 more minutes. Melody lay down in her bed and tried to calm herself. At the stroke of midnight, Somnus walked into the bedroom. He slipped in so quietly that Melody didn't notice him until he had already shut the door. He moved soundlessly to the bed and paused over her without saying a word. Then he hissed softly in a lulling tone. So the beast is already inside. Somnus scrutinized her body like a doctor preparing for surgery. It was not the interested gaze of a man. It was the look of a surgeon, eager to cut open his patient and see what lay beneath the skin and flesh. Did you let it in yourself? I guess? Of course you did, Melody. But it doesn't matter. What matters is what we're dealing with. Finally, Somnus shrugged. He mercifully ended his little interrogation. Well, you let it in, that's that. Now you have to open your heart to another monster. Her body reacted before her mind could. She tried to crawl away from Somnus, but he followed, staying close. The bed creaked under his knee, sinking under the weight of his lean but heavy body. Somnus leaned over her. He raised his pale hand and his long, thin fingers. What a weirdo! Just be normal! You can just sit there and fall asleep. What are you... Somnus smiled apologetically and pulled away. Something brought him to his senses and relieved him of his predatory impulses. Sleep, Melody. Her mind obeyed instantly and tumbled into darkness. The darkness felt better to her than any soft bed, more soothing than a mother's embrace. Somnus immersed her in the sweetest sleep, but a few seconds later her consciousness returned. The darkness parted and gave way to a familiar setting. Melody took a deep breath of the warm, damp air. It was thick with a scent of earth and greenery. Light barely filtered in through the hazy glass. Along with it, her past couldn't get to her. Here, time stood still. She wrapped herself in silence and peace. Where are we? Melody hadn't noticed Somnus materializing beside her, but his sudden presence didn't scare her. She believed that nothing could threaten her in this place. It was hers alone. Her father had never worked with his hands. The smell of humus disgusted him. Humus? Wait, let me look it up. It wants to say hummus, but... Humus. Dark organic soil material formed by a long-term decomposition of plant and animal matter by microorganisms. Okay. Gotcha. Pull this thing on top. Okay. Here, among the plants, Melody found joy in simple things, breathing and growing, and she wasn't afraid of making mistakes. This is the greenhouse where I worked as a child. Somnus brushed his finger along the rough edge of a tomato leaf, then turned to her. You have such dull dreams. They're peaceful. Can you bring them back to me? I'll try. But the beast isn't here. This is only your dream. We'll have to wait for it to catch your scent. Won't it catch yours? I'll leave you when I sense that your dream is dissolving and giving way to someone else's. Somnus didn't hide his boredom. He turned away and walked along the rows of ripening plants. Melody watched him. She was a little unsure what to do next. What should I do? Check your hiding spot, materialize something pleasant in your dream, make Somnus disappear. I'm curious about this hiding spot. Melody fought weeds tirelessly, but in the pristine cleanliness of the greenhouse, one corner stood out. Her hands trembled slightly with excitement as she carefully parted the loose soil, revealing a metallic edge. It was the most precious thing in the world, A box full of her childhood secrets. She'd never taken it out completely, so she could bury it again at any moment, any time with a single movement. Did you find something? Instead of answering, Melody took out a few things. What is this pagan abomination? Melody carefully placed the crude creation back into the box. She spoke absent-mindedly. If you use your imagination, you can figure out what this is. Somnus' first impulse was standard, to rip out her tongue for her insolence. In the dream realm, that wouldn't have been a problem. But he surprised even himself when he bit his own tongue. He imagined this pathetic creature coming here to hold a pathetic imitation of a doll. This is getting more and more interesting. The silence was broken by the desperate fluttering of a moth that had somehow found its way into the greenhouse. Its futile attempts to escape were accompanied by muffled thuds against the glass. Melody reached out to help, but the insect thrashed harder. Alright, fine. Melody climbed to the edge of a low shelf to reach a small window. She wobbled to find her balance. She pressed her hand against the slippery glass, almost losing her footing. Even in a dream, you create problems for yourself. The moth disappeared under Somnus' gaze. Melody felt solid ground beneath her feet again. Forget your surroundings and listen closely, Melody. When your father appears, you must follow him and convince him that you regret nothing. That you'll try to kill Raphael again. Aren't you coming with me? I want the beast to reveal itself in word or deed. Find out where it is, what it wants, why it needs you, anything. My father won't believe me. Then make him believe you, Melody. What if I want to wake up? You'll wake up when I let you. And I'm not letting you out of here until you give me something. Fear tightened her throat. You promised to help me. And I will. I will free you from your dreams. But first, make yourself useful to me. Those worthless beings you share a shelter with will never act on their own. My father is a sadist. Her attempt to appeal to his mercy failed. It's only pain, Melody. It will pass. Somnus was about to say more, but he cut himself off. He lifted his head and froze. Be strong, and then I will get you out of here. The moment he vanished, Somnus' fingernails scratched against the greenhouse window. The fresh scent of greening was replaced by the stifling smell of incense and burnt candles. Don't hide from me, Melody. Come out. Each step echoed dully in her ears. The path stretched forward, disappearing into a milky gray veil of fog. It swallowed the tops of distant trees, coiled along the ground, erasing all traces. It was everywhere, like a living being. Melody could even feel it within her. It settled in her lungs, heavy and moist. It's like I'm within a monster, and the monster is within me. Her father walked slowly ahead. The fog licked gently at his feet, welcoming him like an old friend. Melody avoided looking down. Instead, she caught the hollow echo of her hesitant footsteps. She tried to focus on that single sound, to ignore the feeling of fear. It's alright, Melody. It's alright. His words sounded like forgiveness, but they weren't. Melody knew there was no forgiveness. There is no forgiveness. The words were familiar to her from her childhood. They suddenly stirred a memory. Malek, he told me the same thing. Melody repeated the thought to herself. She tried to hold on to it. It felt very important somehow. But the dream made all thoughts elusive. They slipped away like snakes and slithered into the fog. You will try again, and this time it will work. What must happen for Somnus to take me? What must I do? I don't think he's looking for justification. Refusing is definitely not gonna get me out of here. It's gonna make my job harder in the long run. I'm sorry, Dad. I let you down. Not me, Melody. You let God down. I am only his hand, holding the whip, his voice, bearing the truth. I'll make it right, I promise. Words alone aren't enough, Melody. You know that. Mistakes must be paid for with tears and blood, and then you try again. Melody wanted to agree, but instead of words, she let out a stifled sob. Her father liked her even better that way. You're a good girl, Melody. Her gaze fell on a twisted tree. Its narrow branches reached toward her. Melody quickened her pace, trying to catch up to her father. His steps remained unhurried, but the distance between them did not close. Melody began to run. Her breath grew ragged, poisoned by the thick fog, but the scene around her remained unchanged. We're not going anywhere. Her father noticed her attempt. He smirked. Only the worthy will reach their destination, Melody. Then where are we going? You tell me. Melody paused and thought. This is a test. Going... I mean, this is what they keep calling it. And to become a part of it, I seek purification and forgiveness for my sins. Have you sinned a lot? She didn't need to lie. Her answer was genuine. Yes, and I want to atone for my sins. Her father's calm was as terrifying as his rage. Why isn't he saying anything? What's he waiting for? Melody knew exactly how long a nightmare could last. She called out to him timidly. Father, why am I here? To give the beast your word. When the time comes, you will willingly spill your blood at the entrance to his prison. Sacrifice myself. You will help break his chains. You will die for him. Oh, you'll know, my dear. He finally stopped and turned to his daughter. Here we are. The path ended and led them to an open field. This is where the new world will begin, Melody. And we've been granted the honor of laying its foundation. His hand landed on her shoulder and gripped it firmly. Melody forced a smile through clenched teeth. Her father spoke softly. His tone was chilling and ominous. He uttered words she'd never heard him say before, but she had often imagined the twisted satisfaction they would bring her. I'm proud of you. Melody closed her eyes and tried to steady her wildly beating heart. When she opened them, she found herself in a small, dark room with no windows or doors. In its center stood a coffin with a transparent lid. Unusual red butterflies fluttered around it. Their fluttering wings dispersed the darkness like tiny lights. The sight was so beautiful that Melody stopped wondering where she was. This is my room. It's located on an island where others like me live. Somnus held out his pale hand. One of the butterflies immediately perched on it. While you were chatting with your father, I was overwhelmed by your childhood memories. Your fear, your resentment, your pain. Somnus gently lifted his hand. The butterfly fluttered away to rejoin its sisters. What an interesting place you lived in. You were raised like an animal, obedient, loyal, stripped of desires and opinions, like a dog ready to follow commands without question. Somnus spoke distantly, as if to himself. He ignored the tears welling in her eyes. His words drowned in the quiet rustling of tiny wings. Do you want me to show you something that might bring you joy? If there's a catch in it, I don't know if I would do. Why is it free? Why doesn't it cost anything? Oh, that makes this hella suspect. What? Why is the option free? I don't like that. I've never seen that besides like during like a diamond rush. It's not a diamond rush right now. Why is it free? Is that a glitch? Is it supposed to be free? What is happening? I don't like that. It's just. Then look who I found. Am I supposed? What? Who'd you find? The butterflies gathered in a cluster. It was small at first, but as more butterflies joined, the glowing red cloud grew larger and larger. And when it reached the size of a person, a painfully familiar figure emerged. Melody? Where'd you get my mom from? Oh no, what's the catch? Mom? Her mother's hands reached for her child. She gently touched Melody's cheeks. Melody couldn't believe it. She stared at the futures, lost to time. It's really her. Her mother's face was always kind, with a warmth that felt almost heavenly. She never showed anger, but that was the feeling she always lacked. She never judged father's actions, never questioned him. She followed him blindly, a dutiful wife, never looking down. She never saw where her husband's gaze was directed, and his gaze had guided her into hell. I'm sorry, Melody. Tears filled her eyes and her fingers trembled. I don't have much time, my dear. There's so much I need to tell you. Please know, sweetheart, I would never hurt you. Do you hear me? It was the perfect moment, but Melody couldn't bring herself to ask the question that haunted her. But why would you have killed me? Her mother pulled her... That's exactly what I was thinking. Her mother pulled her close, as if reading her thoughts. She whispered quickly and desperately. Never. I know, Mom, I know. Melody clung to her mother, clutching at her blouse. She felt like she was back in that church, and if she let go, they would take her away again. They separated her from her mother once and for all. It seemed that if she just held on tighter, her mother would stay. Melody didn't believe it was possible, but she wished so desperately that her thoughts could make it happen. After some time, wherever your mother is, she feels a little bit better in this moment. For some time, her mother's form began to fade. It left behind only the faint scent of fresh bread. Somnus stepped into the spot where she had stood a second ago. He tilted his head and watched with curiosity as tears streamed down Melody's cheeks. Was she real? Somnus touched her face with a surprising gentleness, as if there was really something more to him than cruelty. His icy fingers stung and her tears began to freeze, but Melody was grateful to him even for that. Somnus. He leaned so close that Melody could feel his breath. It carried a deathly cold. It frightened her and chilled her to the core. And now you may rest. When Melody opened her eyes, bright sunlight was streaming in through the window. She actually felt at peace. Did Somnus really help me, or did he just get what he wanted and help me just for the night? She couldn't remember the night events of the previous night, but she felt that everything seemed to have worked. I should go downstairs and ask how it went. She jumped out of bed with surprising ease. She moved briskly through the hallway and paused uncertainly on the ground floor of the agency. She listened closely. The only room filled with voices was the living room. She headed that way. Besides Somnus, Mikkel and Furious were also in the room. Melody hesitated. She said softly, "I was wondering how everything went." Instead of answering, Somnus suddenly approached her. Melody was startled. She froze and braced herself for the worst. Did I mess something up last night? Is he going to lecture me in front of everyone? But instead of harsh words, Somnus offered her something quite tangible. In his outstretched hand, he held a gift. I'm still laughing about his line about it wasn't a pagan abomination. Why would he give me a doll? I mean, I know why, but like, why though? Here, this is for you. The doll's face was so creepy that it sent shivers down her spine. At first she thought it was yet another test of courage, but there was a smile on Somnus' face. A sincere and somewhat strange smile. Does he actually like it? Well, given that we've seen his room, maybe that's just his taste. Melody accepted the gift and smiled back. Thank you, Somnus. Lifeless, dead eyes seemed to peer right into her. It felt like the miniature girl wanted to draw the soul out of her new owner, to take hold of it. Where did you even find this thing? Don't mention it, Melody. Children should have toys. Thanks. What is he talking about? The strange budding friendship was almost as unsettling as the doll itself, but Melody says that she shouldn't reject it. The accidental witnesses to Somnus' gesture exchanged glances. Furious clenched his jaw but chose not to comment on the situation. I didn't do anything. You can't blame me for this. Everything went perfectly. Mikkel cleared his throat. How did you sleep? Melody thought for a moment, then answered, Good. I don't think I had any dreams. No more dreams will ever enter that little head of hers. Okay. Mikkel nodded in satisfaction. He declared in a measured tone. Excellent. Then there's no more risk of external influence on your mind, Melody. You'll be able to help us interrogate possible followers of the beast that are connected to the church. The one Malek found? Exactly. Things were shaping up nicely. Melody felt a surge of energy. We seem to be moving forward. Oh, not so fast. I have an assignment. Is this really necessary now, when we have so little time left to capture the beast? It's not for you, Mikkel. It's for your evaluator. I chose it very carefully. She should like it. Sure, whatever. His live voice promised nothing good. A chill ran down Melody's spine. You need to deal with a certain cult. Pretend to be genuine followers, infiltrate it, and destroy it from within. Why? Think you can handle that, Melody? But why? Why would I do that? What is the point of that? This episode felt short. I feel like I missed something. Shut up. Okay, I'm gonna look. Oh, wait. Okay. Astrea's Broken Heart, Season 2. Episode 7? Raphael scene, outfits, Malek. Oh, there's a David scene somewhere. Okay, let me just gloss over that, because, yeah, I didn't Okay, so it's right before Somnus comes into my room. Okay. No, let's talk about the scene. No, it's supposed to cost 20 gems. The ideal. Why was it free? Hold on. It's not a diamond rush right now, right? Let's check. What do you see if it's a diamond rush? It is a diamond rush. It was just a tea party. I was flipping out. I was like, why is it? I was like, why is it free? I've never seen a free choice. That flipped me out. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna flip over to David's and I'm gonna mosey on through the episode. And figure that out so I can catch that scene. That's so funny. That's so funny. I really thought, okay. Yeah. Okay, but I'm gonna go through this, but in reality, I'm actually gonna go ahead and end the episode right here because when I do find the scene, I'm gonna insert it in to the spot where it belongs, right before Somnus comes in this episode. So you would have seen it earlier, but just know I just found that David scene just now. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you next time. Bye.